My name's Ed Mcclellan. I'm coordinator of music education here at Loyola University, New Orleans. I work with students all throughout their career here in their program, in the music education program. I started my education as most students do, kind of going way back to elementary school. I started on trumpet, was my first instrument, and then due to some different circumstances, switched to trombone. So I'm a trombonist by nature, and went through elementary and middle school and high school, and then on to college. I got my bachelor's of music education at Duquesne University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and then took some time away and went to teach at some schools in the Pittsburgh area. After pursuing a short-term career there, I went back to school again to Duquesne and pursued my master's. Had an assistantship with a program there that worked with underprivileged kids in the schools as well. I was also an assistant conductor with the band program there for the few years that I was there. And then after that, went back into the field as far as teaching. Taught for probably about another 15 to 20 years, and then decided I really wanted to pursue a doctorate degree. And after that, that decision that I made, then I went on to University of North Carolina at Greensboro and pursued a PhD in music education. And that program lasted about 3-4 years. And after that, I was glad to come here to New Orleans and assume the position as coordinator of music education. Whenever, I think everyone at some point has a very important person in their lives, an influential person. Whenever I first started playing the trumpet way back in elementary school, I think like most elementary students, really didn't have much interest in it and kind of played and took part in the different ensembles that I was in. And then I went on to middle school and eventually high school. And it was my high school band director that he inspired me. He was very charismatic. He was an avid musician. Before teaching, he was actually touring with Maynard Ferguson, and then he decided to make teaching a full-time position for a number of reasons. And so in my first year coming in, I came in as a trombone player that really didn't know a great deal about music. And by the end of the first semester, he just inspired me that I wanted to learn so much that I ended up taking lessons with a friend of his, a trombonist. And from there, basically kind of worked my way up to the section. By the end of my sophomore year, I was kind of the first chair trombonist and loved music and became the star of the band program there for the next 3 years. And so from there, I went on to college, originally beginning to just want to perform. I wanted to be a performer, and so I went to Duquesne because the professor was there for many, many years. He was an old gentleman that was inspiring to many people, and so he, again, kind of inspired me to continue on. He was a very demanding taskmaster, and so I continued on at that point, and it wasn't until really after I graduated that I found that, well, in student teaching and working with the program that I was working with as an assistant director, that wow, I really like teaching. And that's what really swayed me to go in that direction. And I still love to perform, I still love to take part and participate in music, but teaching and education, I found that it has such an impact on individuals. And you as the teacher, you inspire others and you motivate others by your own actions and what you do, that you're really an important person in their lives. And so that's what kind of has driven me. And as coordinator here, that's what I try to get our students to think about as far as the inspiration and the impact that they have on individuals that coming into their programs may have no idea as to what they want to do with their lives. But even just to enjoy music and participate in music is so important. And that's what I found to be very important in what I'm doing here. Well, nowadays, there's so much going on in education, so many changes. Every administration that comes in right now, we have the Obama administration, and they're working to make changes to education, which or in broad terms across the country, and that filters down into, the individual schools. And in regards to music education, it's so important that music is a part of the curriculum. And sometimes administrators and politicians don't see that. And it's really up to us as individuals who are in the field of music to bring that to their attention, that that's an important part, and it gives a well-rounded education to a child. They may learn math and science and English, and the sciences really be able to master the skills in being able to perform the functions needed to be able to be a good mathematician or scientist or whatever, but there still needs to be the arts in their lives throughout their schooling. It, in many cases, will have the students may come to school just for the music program, and that carries over into the other areas in which they can function and do well in those other subject matters. Music itself, there's many components within music. Science, math, English, they're all part of being a good musician and being a good participant within the program. And so students, as they learn the concepts and participate in a music program, whether it's band, orchestra, choir, through general music, then they are going to acquire that knowledge. They have to multitask. They have to be able to read a new language. They have to be able to develop an understanding of what that language means while they're also coordinating their hands or fingers or other ways in which they're performing. And those multitask type things that they do are important and relay or transfer over to other subject areas in which they can make assimilations, but then as well they can make connections to individual concepts in those other subjects. So there's a couple different layers that occur in regards to music education. There have been tests and studies done that have found that students that are involved in the arts, particularly music, and that benefits them in their own achievement in those other subject areas. And so that's another vital, important fact that is valuable to understanding how valuable music is in our schools. And with the changing society that we have with charter schools, magnet schools, the traditional public school, we need to continue to work to support the arts and music in the schools and make sure that the administrators, the decision makers understand that and educate them, because they need to be educated just as the students do as well, parents in the community. They need to be familiar with that information. So all of that is pulled together to support how valuable music is in the schools. The parents that I've met and talked to, generally the students have made the decision that they want to go into music, and they may really want to be a music teacher, or they may just want to be a performer. I think that in one way you can look at it that music education or being a music educator is important in that there's stability in that type of position. But I think that whether you decide to go on and teach in a school or teach in a studio or teach and you want to progress and teach at the college level, that you need to acquire skills and the understanding about what's valuable in teaching an individual. And so coming through the music education program here is valuable in that way, that you're going to gain not only the opportunity to perform and be a part of many of the musical activities and ensembles here, but you're also going to have the chance to get out into the schools and interact in that level. There's many opportunities here on campus and in the community to get out and get involved in those types of activities, so you gain experience. It's very experiential, just like performing. Teaching is an experience where you gain experience, and the more experience you have, the better you're apt to work with people and to understand what they may be dealing with and try to address, as far as teaching, how to play something or sing something and improve that. I think they need to be themselves. Okay, they need to establish who they are. They need to gain an understanding of that. I think through the program here, they have the opportunity with the broad base of the whole program that they can do that. They need to have goals as to what they want to achieve and how they're going to achieve them. And then they need to, within, I think, the presence of our program, they need to develop the tools. They need to acquire those tools through the various methods classes, the musician classes, the music history, the ensembles and performance applied study, as well as even the background in the core curriculum gives them that broad base, which gives them a well-rounded background that is going to prepare them so they have the tools that whenever they get out, then they're confident to go into whatever program or whatever area of teaching that they want to go. And they're going to be able to be confident in what they're doing and be successful. So they'll have those tools to do that whenever they graduate from Loyola University.
Do you hear from your past students? Are you close to
I do. I hear there are students that are, once they graduate, they go out and get a job locally here, and they'll keep in touch, and from time to time they'll call or email, or even I've gone out to their schools and visited them. And then there's also students that in the past several years they leave the area. Our students have gone to Chicago, to South Dakota, to Florida, to Texas, and they still keep in touch. They still call or they'll email and say, well, Dr. Mcclellan, how are you? You know, what's going on? And I wanted to just fill you in as to what's going on with me right now. And I think that's great to keep that contact. In several cases, they'll call and I'm really having a hard time with this. Do you have some suggestions? And I'm glad to help out with that. And so to me, kind of one of the goals that I have is not only the education that we have here at Loyola, but extending that out into the community and connecting with our students who graduate, but in general, beginning teachers within the first 5 years of their teaching. You know, that's the period that we lose a lot of beginning teachers because they don't have support. And so I'm glad to furnish that to our students as well as, you know, students in general that are beginning in this career path. Well, first, I think in regards to the technique, that they have an understanding of what appropriate techniques are in performing, whether it's on voice or on instrument. That's important. I think that they have to have a patience in relating to individuals. They need to understand that every person is a different person. And so you need to have an understanding as to their personality, as to maybe their motivations for learning. And also you need to be able to prescribe strategies to meet those individual needs. And that's, I think, through our program that helps to develop that. But those are qualities that they need to establish on their own by the time that they graduate. They need to be able to connect with people and be happy to work with people. And so that's another quality. As well, they need to have high standards for themselves and be able to establish those high standards for their students. So those are all qualities that are important. I guess it's every year, actually just the other day with our introduction class, we went through the curriculum. And I always think of it as there are these different components that all fit together to make a complete program of music education. One of those components is the musicianship. That involves their involvement as an applied instruction on their instrument or their voice. That also includes them performing in ensembles, involves them participating in music theory and musicianship type classes in which they're building the foundation for their own musicality and their own musicianship. Another component to that is other related classes that they'll get in their sophomore and junior years, in which they study music history. They'll look at orchestration, which combines a lot of the components of music theory. And then they have opportunities to explore related areas. One of those could be in the area of jazz studies, or another area could be in which they want to develop more of composition, or even in technology. If they have room in their schedule, they can take and investigate those type classes and help to polish their own skills. In addition to that, then there's the Common Core curriculum, which every year they'll take. And again, that gives them a broad liberal arts education. And then as well, something that we've developed in the past few years is that beginning in their freshman year, we start to get them out into the schools so they start to interact with school-age students and veteran teachers, mentor teachers, so that in their freshman, sophomore, junior year, they're having experiences in those many different mediums that they can start to make some relationships with people in the area and start to understand what's involved with being in a classroom, interacting with people, setting objectives and meeting those objectives, and then also dealing with individuals within that capacity. And then I think kind of the final component has to do with, as they get to their senior year, working to kind of develop those skills so that they're actually placed full-time at a school, and they work with a mentor teacher in which they give a longer amount of time in which they're in front of the classroom and deal with people. And they're basically the ones that are in charge of the class. They're involved with the activities of budgeting and facility and interacting with the principal and other faculty members at the school and working as part of a team. And so by the time that they graduate then with those various components, then they should be ready to step into any situation and have comfort in knowing how to get started and how to establish the curriculum, what they're going to do, and how they're going to begin. Opportunities and challenges. The challenges come in that there are so many different types of school throughout the area that some schools may not have a music program. They may have an after-school program. Other schools may have a full music program, which they have band and orchestra and chorus there at their school. Other schools may just have a band or a chorus or an orchestra. And so that's the challenge in that every school is run differently. And in regards to music education, they have different components or different ways in which they do things. And I think on the positive side is that gives us opportunities that we can get students out into those different circumstances. And I think the more experiences they have, the more diversity that they have in their own experiences, that's going to help to give them a better understanding, a more broader understanding as to what they can do, because whatever position they get, they're going to start and build that program. And so as there are so many differences here, then it's going to help them whenever they start to, whatever is thrown at them, they're going to be prepared. Right now, I'm looking at, this program. I've been here for, I guess, 3 years now, and we've kind of gotten some stability into the program and developed some parts of the program. I'm hoping that this program is going to continue to grow and develop, and we're going to have more participation of students in the program and be able to connect to other areas within the college and the university. I think there's opportunities out on campus that we haven't approached yet that we can address that as well. Hopefully down the road, we had a graduate program here at one time, and we're looking to, in the future to bring that back and to kind of bring that back, because that's going to bring older students, experienced students, and that's going to have a great influence on the students that are in our undergraduate program right now. So those are goals that I have in the next 5 years. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk with you today, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I look forward to talking with you and providing information or any help possible. So thank you very much.